But I want to know, General, Namhla's docket, is it back with the PKTT? How far is the case now?
No, the docket was sent back to the Eastern Cape. So I do not know what's the status of the docket, but it was.
But I thought the PKTT has not been disbanded and it was a PKTT document. Why is it gone back to the Eastern Cape?
It was a directive that was given that only the KZN, remaining KZN, Eastern Cape must go to Eastern Cape.
Concern is not the fact that actually such Nkosi has been raided. The concern is what was found when he was raided, and amongst many was the various dockets that were in his house. We know as South Africans, after the return of Lieutenant General Mkwanezi at the ad hoc committee, that one of the dockets that have been removed, that we don't know where they are, is the docket of Namhla Mtwa. It was confirmed by Lieutenant General Mkwanezi at the ad hoc committee that that docket does not form part of the PKTT anymore. Actually, he doesn't even know where the docket is. The last time he remembers, the docket was supposed to be in the Eastern Cape. The question that we should ask ourselves is that docket part of the dockets that are in the Eastern Cape, or it's part of the dockets that were found in that particular house of Sergeant Nkosi? In this video, let us talk about the raids that have happened on the 2nd of April and the implications thereof.
That's a directive that was given, so I do not know the reason behind.
By who now, General? Okay, sorry, I'm getting confused. Let me explain why. Because the issue of station of origin and where the dockets go, it sounded like it had been completed. Then we were told, I think just after Madlanga commission started, we were told that the dockets were returned to yourself in KwaZulu-Natal. Who then gave a directive for these dockets to then be dispersed again?
With your permission, all of members, I've got my colleagues here. I can ask Shadrack Sibiya to get this before we finish this so we can give it the response.
Are you happy with that decision? Because I got the sense that Namhla's family, Namhla's community, South Africans were looking to the PKTT to work on this matter and resolve it. Were you happy with the decision that the dockets are now dispersed once again?
Look, I cannot say I was happy or not. I remain in KZN. So cases that are outside KZN, I cannot fight for them. Doesn't matter how I might look at it, because I might then be judging the colleague in the province that are not able to do the job. If it was still a KZN docket that was taken somewhere else, I was not going to be pleased. But in this instance, I can't necessarily comment much because the incident did not happen in KZN anyway.
So we've heard, guys, it has been reported that Sergeant Nkosi actually has been raided by the police, and amongst many, they found shocking things. And I'll just name a few of those things. That is the 490 rounds of ammunition, hand grenade. Oh my God, what will you do with a hand grenade as a police officer? And that's the thing, guys. Put that at the back of your minds, that this person, he was on suspension when all of this was found in his house. Multiple dockets from various police stations. This is original dockets, not even a copy. Original dockets, particularly significant because Nkosi was on suspension, because at the time, and that should have not been in his possession at all. And there were 8 firearms that were found, 4 pistols, 4 rifles, and 1 shotgun. We know that Nkosi is one person that does favors for people. They do favors for him. It has been exposed during his testimony at the Madlanga Commission, even with what is going on with the TMPD, of which I will tie this whole thing with the next witness that is going to appear at the Madlanga Commission, who is the chief of police there, who is going to testify. And probably she might put the last nail on Nkosi. Oh, it doesn't look like a good year for criminals. There can never be peace between a police officer and a criminal, indeed. So now let us go to the issue of Namhla Mtwa. We know that it was revealed by Lieutenant General Mkwanezi that Namhla Mtwa's case is no more part of the PKTT. Initially, this case was part of the PKTT. It was even said by Shadrack Sibiya, he was even priding himself that this was his case in a way.
After some, I don't know whether it's a week or 2, but after a month, 3 more dockets were brought of Namhla Mtwa in the Eastern Cape. This is the case that I allocated to General Khumalo more than a year ago to look into. They were also brought in. Now it's 121 dockets. Now this 121 dockets, they are here at head office. I realize that in my mind I say, these dockets are here. Immediately, I think a week thereafter, I wrote a letter that says this docket must be gone. They must go back to where they belong, station. Everybody must now, because the dockets are here now.
And now we even heard from Nkosi when he appeared, the last appearance at the Madlanga Commission, that he was working with Shadrack Sibiya on certain cases and on certain dockets.
The statement proper begins. You've just identified yourself in 1 and 2.
Pardon?
I'm happy for you to start at 3 because 1 and 2 are just for identifying yourself.
I confirm that I work with General Sibiya in the head office. He sometimes tasks me to attend the complaints of dockets that they got against the police, and further task me on the job that he got from Parliament.
The question remains, is this case part of those dockets that are with them? Because that's the questions that we have as South Africans. It has not yet been disclosed by the media or by the police as to which cases have been found in his possession, and especially cases of interest. What we know, that what was revealed at the Madlanga Commission, is that Nkosi had particular interest in the cases of Babita Deokoran, had an interest in the case of some DJ Somebody, had an interest in the case of AKA. Because we remember the clips that were sent to Mampane, some of the clips that were sent to Umtagati, those cases, and some of the friends of DJ Somebody and all of those things, we know that he had a lot of interest in those cases. I'm not going to delve deep on this. I've made a very informative episodes regarding that part of the testimony. But we know he was a very generous person when it came to information of the subs, and he just gave it all up to these people that are part of the taxi association. Now we see that these dockets have been found in his house, ammunition have been found at this house, and there is nothing that lingers in my mind but to ask myself, who are these cases belong to? Who are these people that are actually perpetrators in this particular case and the victims of this particular case? And what was he going to do with these dockets since it's originals? I don't know which excuses was he going to provide, or he was going to tell to the courts, but they have a really strong case against him.
That's in the arrest of Fani Nkosi. Now, Nkosi was apprehended following a raid that uncovered over 400 rounds of unlicensed ammunition, police dockets and other items. He's been at the center of allegations connecting him to corrupt officials. Yusuf Abramji joins us live in studio now. Yusuf, I really appreciate your time on this public holiday to come and unpack some of it. And we watched the police raid Nkosi's house. We couldn't show it. The police asked us not to show it, not to show the police officers' faces. And when the police convoy left, I remember it was here on my show, I was wondering whether Nkosi was in those vehicles, but they didn't tell us at that stage. What do you make of how the police handled all of it?
Well, we know that the police went to his house in Pretoria North, that's Fani Nkosi's house, early on Thursday. We had word a few hours later that a search and seizure warrant was being executed. We phoned the police for comment, and they said that they'll come back to me, and hours later they did not. Eventually, when I had confirmation that police were there, we then broke the story on social media. ENCA, Puli Letuli Jones and the team then jumped onto it, and we then confirmed that a police operation was underway. Police then sent out a statement to say, please do not photograph the police officials, which we understand, or show the house, which I think the media respected. But the reality is we are dealing here with a very controversial police official. Yes, technically, you cannot name a suspect until he or she appears in court.
Will he be getting bail? I don't know. It doesn't look good for him at all, but we'll just see tomorrow as to what will happen with his particular case. But we know that he was raided and these dockets were found. Now let us tie everything up. Namhla Mtwa is one of the high-profile cases that were part of the PKTT cases. Shadrack Sibiya had an interest in it, and clearly he made people to work on this particular case. And Lieutenant Lamkhanas is telling us that that case is not part of the PKTT, and the last time he remembers, this case was in the Eastern Cape. It was sent back to the station of origin. What proof do we have that this case was actually sent to the station of origin? Because now it has been revealed. The dockets are just found in the surgeon's house. How sure are we? Which dockets? Which cases? I don't know if you guys get what I mean. I'm very worried about the case of Mtwa because if it went back to the station of origin, why we haven't heard any updates, any investigation that has been carried out? Because if this case is actively being worked on, by now we could have heard that okay, this is what they've done, this is what they've achieved, or as a success or as a fail. We could have heard something. But it has been quiet. Instead, the PKTT still continuing with their cases and they have their own successes. But when it comes to the Namhla Mtwa, there's been silent, nothing has been going on, and it's part of the public interest cases that the public to this day want to know what is actually going on with that case, what is the update with that case. But what we are hearing from Lieutenant General Mkosi, it went to Eastern Cape. Is it even there? That's the question that I have. Is it even there? Because we haven't heard any updates regarding this case. The question still remains, ikai case ya Namhla Mtwa? Where is the case? Where is the docket? If it's in the Eastern Cape, want to hear some updates. Want them to work on this case. And if it's with those dockets that were found with Nkosi, want to hear actually what are those cases that were found with Nkosi, the dockets, whom do they belong to? Very alarming behavior of Nkosi. And what is so even shocking is the fact that more is happening, guys. More is happening in the background. Just like this person that we have not yet known, it's not been named yet. It is said that he was subpoenaed. The bank statement was subpoenaed, and is part of the people that might have benefited in this so-called money laundering of the Karims and the Matalas. It's not Karim. That's what I thought in the beginning. The name has not been disclosed and the information has not yet been revealed properly. So it's not easy for one to even make speculations. We'll just see as this person is called at the Madlanga.
And I see that our reporter Pulititi Jones about an hour or so ago also posted that we've got another new lead. Sources are indicating that the bank records of a very prominent businessman have been subpoenaed by the Madlanga Commission investigators. I see that smile of yours. What can we say about that? What do we know about that at the moment?
All we know is that the commission evidence leaders have managed to get the financial or the bank statements of this particular individual. Very high profile. He hasn't been before the Madlanga Commission. Some people are speculating who it is, but this particular individual has not been before the Madlanga Commission. And I can tell you now that if this particular person is subpoenaed, which Puli and I agree is going to happen, we're going to see some explosive evidence here. We know that some of the individuals, especially the business people from the Northwest, there was a Suleiman Karim that testified. He had certain links with certain individuals that were mentioned. But this particular one, I think is going to be very interesting to see how those allegations are going to unfold. Because if the commission managed to get those bank statements, which they did, we're going to see hundreds of millions of rands exchanging hands, which could see the money laundering allegations on a mass scale.
What we are seeing right now is a lot of action, a lot of results that are coming from the Madlanga Commission before it even concludes. And I'm not going to lie, if I say that I'm not impressed, I'll be misleading you guys. I'm really impressed. I'm not saying that the commission is perfect, but I'm just saying that the fact that there is some movement, there's something that is happening, it's giving us hope as South Africans that the criminality is going to be uprooted. People are going to pay for all that they have done for all these years. Nonetheless, guys, let me hear what you think. Now I want to move to the testimony that is coming. So this is going to be the testimony of the TMPD chief, which is Yolande Faro. Yolande Faro is very important in this aspect because she's expected to testify soon, and her role, most importantly, or her testimony will focus on the tender rot that has been happening between Mr. Nkosi as well as Umashi Dlamini, who's the deputy chief of police, currently in suspension, was suspended by Miss Yolande Faro. Guys, I did make an episode about what is going on with the corruption of the Tshwane municipality. And not just what has been revealed by the Madlanga Commission, but also the Democratic Alliance has exposed even further what has been happening in the Tshwane municipality. And the water mafia, the water mafias were exposed, and the fact that these people have tankers. Some of these officials, they have tankers, and not just getting the tenders, but they also have tankers in their possessions or companies, and they are literally coming for everything of the government. They're getting all the tenders. So that is exposing that particular aspect. So I think Miss Yolande Faro, her testimony is important in that particular aspect. And we'll just hear from her if she knew of these irregularities and whether she knew of the role of Nkosi in this whole thing, especially how he had captured the Tshwane municipality from procurement processes, having a role or playing a big role in who gets the job and who doesn't, and also getting so much into the things of the tender, working with the CFO, Gareth Mnisi, as well as Umashi Dlamini. I can't wait for your testimony. I think she's going to definitely come and expose a lot of people. She's going to be like Mr. Rivo Spies is going to expose the rot. Before I can conclude this video, I wanted us to quickly talk about the raids that have been happening. So one of the biggest critiques that the police have received regarding Nkosi is that they did not really make this whole thing too public. I also didn't, if I didn't go on YouTube and watched some videos by YouTubers or even on Twitter, I would have not known this because it was not really that widely covered the way they could have done with other things, or if it was someone else, they could have ensured that even to this day we are talking about that particular topic. But the fact that they even really made it that much of a big topic has made other people to criticize how the subs have actually dealt with this particular matter.
I think just police are nervous. We know the National Police Commissioner is facing criminal charges. We know the police are quick to point out breakthroughs, especially on social media or issuing media statements. But when it comes to Sergeant Nkosi, they didn't say a word. I think they're waiting to see how the charges are going to unfold. And I think it's only a question of time before these charges, more charges are brought.
They've said things like SUBS is literally failed, because even now we've seen the raids that have happened in prisons. Guys, it's so embarrassing what has been found. Even a mere griller, like people are having BRAAIs in prison, guys. They are having meat, dried meat inside their cells. Because what has been revealed is that there's a couple of things that have been found: 65 cell phones, 2 routers, 3 BRAAI grillers, guys. 136,000 in cash, 6 bank statements, 25 sharp object, 5 knives, 5 blades, and 21 tick sachets, 70 Dagga sachets, 67 Mendrex tablets, 3 Dagga pipes. All of this, guys, makes you wonder, ask yourself, how did these things get in? It's people or police officers, corrupt police officers like Nkosi that are enabling such things. I don't want to make any allegations. It's alleged, guys. We don't know what is the involvement of Nkosi, but I'm just making an example with him to show that police officers are corrupt, and that this is allowed because they are allowing it as police officers. Can't wait to hear what Groenewald has to say regarding this raid and what was found inside these prisons, because this does not look good at all. And obviously, this prisoner activist also came in hard for Gayton McKenzie and said that everything that has been said about Gayton McKenzie is actually true.
Now, Jermaine Prim, we need to get Gayton McKenzie to tell us the truth, because he knows the truth. And I'm told that his pockets are so deep that he's got everybody in his pockets. He has built his corrupt network, whether it's politically, economically, socially, whether it is religiously. Money talks. And when money talks and greed listens, you will find a situation like this. Gayton McKenzie must tell us. I know that some times ago, he gave instructions on social media that Jermaine Prim must be taken to CMAX, and it happened. And Jermaine Prim has been there ever since. But if you want to know who Gayton McKenzie is, I'm not talking about Kenny. Kenny was in prison as a model prisoner, and he was a T-boy. Had nothing to do with the cameras and the videos that were taken there. But you must ask me who Gayton McKenzie is. I will tell you who the man is, because all of those who helped him build his empire is no more next to him. They were never next to him, you know. And all the people that surround him, they are very loyal to them, because it's a lot of money that pay that connection and that network.
Because we know that Gayton McKenzie recently faced allegations that he's provided or gave a prisoner cell phone. There's just a lot of allegations that were leveled against him, even though he's denied all of them. But it looks like someone is coming to say that Gayton McKenzie is actually very dangerous. And all I can say is that allegedly, guys, we don't want to be sued by Gayton because he doesn't like this topic at all. So all I can say, guys, is that it goes back to that issue of you have to prove your case. As long as someone can prove, then they're fine. Because even Umkhonto Sizwe Party is coming in hard to defend Jermaine Prim, to say why is he sent to CMAX? Because what wrong did he do? And I think that's one of the questions that we asked heavily, that what did he do? Because the most investigation that has to be done is whether, according to the sentencing that he has received, is he allowed to have a phone call, and for that time that he has had that phone call with the ENCA reporter, not that he can't have a cell phone call. These people, especially depending on where you are, all of those things, they're allowed to have calls.
It's abuse of power, authority, and office, whoever is responsible. You see, the Department of Correctional Services must divorce themselves from getting involved in stuff that has got nothing to do with the mandate of the Department of Correctional Services. As an organization, we are also shocked that he's been there for almost 8 years. He's taken out there because of a court order. He's taken to an open prison, and from there he's been taken back because he had an interview on a landline world call, not on a cell phone. And I see nothing wrong with that. What we need to investigate is what he told us during the interview. What is the substance? Is it fake news? Is it propaganda? Or is it factual? That is what needs to be investigated.
To make informed, sober decision based on the investigation report, what it tells us. Because if the investigation report tells us that is a telephone booth, then he was within his normal right to have a non-contact visit. Then the matter becomes, his classification says how many minutes are allocated to him. Then we deal with that matter. The matter of Gayton, McKenzie, and the allegations that are made to it are not for us as the portfolio committee, and not for us as the Department of Correctional Service. They lie from SUBS, they lie from the justice system.
But it's always limited with time and all of those things. So all those things have to be considered and thought of before they can get to the conclusion of saying that, okay, we are sending this person to CMAX. Investigate, then send the person to CMAX. Umkhonto Sizwe Party heavily feels like all of this is unfair coming from correctional services. As I've said, we'll just hear from Grunewald when the investigation has been concluded as to whether Mr. Prim was allowed to have this interview with ENCA, this call for that particular time. Otherwise, right now, there's nothing much that we can do. Nonetheless, guys, let me hear your thoughts, what you think about what is happening with our corrupt police officers, the raids. Do you think that the Namhla Mtwa case is also part of that, those dockets that we found in Nkosi's possession? Let me hear your thoughts, what you guys think. I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.